Hi, in this tutorial we're going to take a look at some of the browsing, archiving and data manipulation features of RoboMQ. So I've created a queue manager and some queues for the purpose of this demo. So let's enter the details. This is just a local queue manager. So that's the basic information that it needs. So now we can test the connection. And that works. One of the things you can do with RoboMQ is you can, if you're suitably permissioned, you can discover the queues that are attached to the queue manager. So if we do that, we can see from the queue selector all the various queues that are available on that queue manager. RoboMQ has a built-in database to allow you to record connection information to save you having to type it in every time. So if we save all, it's called a palette, so if we save all to palette, then all these queues have now been added. If we go to the palette from here, we can see all of the queues that we just added and the details of where it came from. Now in the Browse tab we can see the same view, so there's a kind of parent-child relationship between queue managers and queues, which just helps it to be to organise a little bit. So now that we're connected, let's take a look at data publishing. So we have several options for getting data onto our various queues. So if we connect to this queue, click on it, we can now see the connection status is connected. If we click on the injection tab, we can do direct message injection into the queue. So if we type in some test data, here we have a bunch of options for adding message properties. Either pre-version 7 we can do RFH and RFH2 headers, legacy, or we can do more recent message properties. But for a basic message, this should do the trick. So now we've published that, we can see that we have one message on the queue, and if we browse we can see it there, and that's the details, and here's the MQMD message header. So if we've been working on a document in the editor and we type some data here, from here this is bound into the various targets that you can send data to. So we can send to the injection window and again publish from here. If we go to the Browse tab, we can see that data is there as well. Injection from file. So if we have a bunch of files that we'd like to publish, we could use the bulk uploader. So this lets you select a group of files from disk, play around with the ordering maybe, and then insert into the queue that you're currently connected to. So if we go to data inject text files, and here's a bunch of XML files that I've arranged previously. If we open all these, then in this window we can see all the files, and let's say we want to make that first in the queue, we can change the ordering of that. I need these in fact. And yeah, if we publish this, then all of these messages end up on the queue. These are XML messages we've put on, and RoboMQ has a built-in XML syntax highlighter to make life a little bit easier to read. So now that we have we have a bunch of data on a queue, we can look at archiving. So this is where we want to back up a queue either partially or fully including ordering and message IDs. And this is kind of useful when we want to replay test cases. So we're building an interface and we have some test data that we'd like to replay over and over again until we get things right. So we can either select a bunch of messages like this, and then we can save selected as a binary archive. If you want to save them as individual XML files, that's possible as well with this option. But if we want to archive the whole lot, then we can back up the entire queue from here. So if we put this here, and it saves it as a robo data file. So that's been archived. And let's say we wanted to restore that to a different queue, we could just click here, connect to this green queue, and restore from archive. Either creating new message IDs or preserving the old ones. Preserving the old ones is useful if you have a kind of scenario where you're publishing to an application where they're going to take the message ID, take that and put it into the correlation ID field, and you're going to wait for a response in the correl ID field to give the illusion of a synchronous kind of service. So we'll restore it as it was created, and here's the file we just created now. So these are the messages that were present on the original file, so you can see that's worked. So it's fairly flexible when it comes to message publishing. In addition to this, although the back end here is a queue, RoboMQ lets you treat messages like files on a disk. So cut, copy, paste is supported between queues and even queue managers, and it also allows selective deletions. So maybe you've got some poison message that you want to get rid of, or you've been informed that there's a trade in the queue that needs to not percolate through the interface. That's possible here. You can select these messages, and from here you can either cut or delete selected messages to get rid. So I could select all of these messages. I could copy them, go to a different queue, and paste either with new message IDs or as created here. So searching. RoboMQ has search facilities that allow you to search either by a basic pattern or by regular expression. So this is kind of useful where you might want to locate a trade by its trade ID or some other key field when you have a large number of trades on the queue. So if we were to pick some random field, piece of data, and search by it, and we set the filter, then these are the messages that contain that information, and we can clear that to get rid of it. It also supports search and replace via the special copy feature. So let's say that we wanted to change the capitalization of the XML string here from lowercase to uppercase. We could select all of these messages, and then we click on special copy. So if we set the destination queue to be the same, which in this case is violet, and we move the messages rather than copy them, and we want to find XML and replace it with capitalized XML, it's going to scan through these fields, it's going to remove the messages as it goes, any message, and on the fly, if it finds this string, it'll replace it with this string. And before you do it, to make sure, to get some sort of confidence that you've not got this wrong, you got this wrong, you can queue a preview, which will tell you the number of occurrences of what's going to get replaced. And in this case, it's 23 messages, which kind of looks about right. So if we execute this, we can see now that these messages, these XML the XML tag in these messages has been updated. So, well, that's about it for now, and thanks for listening.